It may come as a surprise to learn that Delta Airlines, in contrast to its competitors, is looking to adopt Airbus for the majority of its fleet. This is because the majority of U.S. legacy airlines currently operate Boeing fleets, for a variety of reasons, some of which are more evident than others. As you can see, a positive relationship between an airline and an aircraft manufacturer is essential to the airline's ability to do business and turn a profit. When an airline forms a strong partnership with an aircraft manufacturer, it typically guarantees some form of loyalty for the medium to long term because factors like fleet commonality play a key role when it comes to the airline's financial situation. However, varied circumstances could lead to an airline changing its preferred aircraft manufacturer selection. This is because the choice of aircraft determines the kind of operations airlines can efficiently handle. Since Boeing is also an American corporation, U.S. airlines tend to favor them because of their proximity, which makes it simpler to obtain essential parts and manage maintenance procedures. However, it appears that the airline has made the decision to fully adopt Airbus, at least for its wide bodies. On January 12, 2024, Delta announced that it was placing an order for 20 Airbus A350-1000s, presumably with the intention of completing its flagship type with its high-end premium offerings. Fans wonder why Delta chose to focus so much on Airbus when the airline now flies the A350-900 as its flagship aircraft. This is set to change by 2026, by which time the 1,000 aircraft orders should have arrived. Unlike its competitors, Delta operated a fleet of almost entirely American-made aircraft prior to its 2010 merger with Northwest Airlines. The only exception was the Airbus A310, which was purchased by the now-defunct Pan American World Airways. However, prior to Delta's entry into the merger, Northwest had been operating nearly 36 relatively new Airbus A330 aircraft. Delta decided not to retire the aircraft and instead welcomed its first official fleet of Airbus aircraft as of May 2024. The majority of Delta's fleet is Airbus. This excludes its unfulfilled orders for 97 A321neos, 12 A330-900s, of which 14 are for the 900 variant and 20 are for the 1000 variant. These orders could make Delta Airlines the world's most varied aircraft operator. It is also the only U.S. carrier to have bought the Airbus A330neo and A350 aircraft, making it the largest U.S. operator of wide-body Airbus aircraft. In 2023, Delta added over 40 new Airbus aircraft to its fleet of over 900 aircraft, more than half of which were 321. Currently, Delta has over 200 Airbus aircraft on order, more than twice as many as Boeing orders. The largest U.S. airlines, Delta's competitors, have, nevertheless, tended to favor Boeing aircraft, particularly when it comes to wide-body aircraft. American Airlines, for example, has an all-Boeing wide-body fleet consisting of the Tri-7 and the 787 Dreamliner. Not to add that United Airlines has ordered dozens more Dreamliners and currently possesses every version. Low-cost and regional airlines. Although airlines like JetBlue and Breeze Airways are also adopting Airbus aircraft as the backbone of their mainline fleet with the A220, Delta is still very selective and only orders aircraft with excellent operational economics. As a result, Airbus aircraft like the A330-800, A318, and A380 have not received a single order from Delta because they do not meet the necessary benchmarks. What are Delta's plans for their new Airbus purchases? The A321neo went into service with Delta in 2022 with the goal of improving both its operational reliability and customer experience. Since then, the airline's transcontinental and transpacific operations have significantly improved. The A220-300 fleet is a direct replacement for the airline's 737 fleet, which it utilizes for domestic operations. This allows Delta to offer first-class seats domestically, a first in the industry. In addition to a premium select cabin with 26 reclining seats and 29 totally flat beds, Delta also offers some of the most roomy and comfortable economy and ordinary seating available on any aircraft. There's a good likelihood that the A351 will adopt something comparable. Due to the common type rating of the two aircraft, which enables Delta to employ a single fleet, pilots may also switch from the A330 to the A350 quite easily. Flying concept that would allow its pilots to be certified to fly both aircraft. Normally, airlines should have the freedom to select any aircraft they desire. However, because of Delta's fleet strategy, certain sectors have started to question whether Delta's leadership has an anti-Boeing stance as compared to its U.S. peers. Historically and currently, Delta has been a significant Boeing operator, flying more than 400 Boeing aircraft of various models, including, as of May 2024, 88 717s, 77 737, 126 757s, and 65 767s. However, the airline also purchases planes that aren't selling well or that are due to be phased out, sometimes at steep prices. As an illustration, consider the A330, which has a small backlog due to its low popularity. This allows Delta to add it to its fleet at a relatively low cost. This is also true for other Airbus aircraft, like the A319 and A321neo, but Delta's preference for these aircraft goes beyond just their availability. Boeing's involvement is also a factor in the apparent rejection of their aircraft by Delta. Boeing does not have a 757. There isn't a direct replacement for the Boeing 757 on the market yet, so Delta would likely keep operating its own until one does, but it can make do with the Airbus aircraft it has acquired by using a mix that allows it to run makeshift operations similar to what the 757 can do. And to a slightly lesser extent, the 767 replacement has allowed Airbus to steal a march to win Delta's heart with the A321neo, which can be balanced by the A350 to create a middle ground which could be operated as something of a mid-size sector. What do you think of Delta's ambitious plans for Airbus? Kindly inform us in the comments section below. Until the next time, stay careful.